Hi, it's been probably a while since I've posted like an actual, hey, look at my face, right? video. I wanted to film a life update because it's been so long and a lot of things have happened. Um, there's been a lot of drama in the mermaid community. There's been changes in my mermaid life. Um, I have new enclosures, and which, if you've been watching my videos, you'll have seen those. Um, and I have some news about myself. So, first of all, I was trying to grow. Let's do a hair update. Let's start there, right? Hair update. I cut it short. It was getting long enough that I could start braiding it, long enough I was putting up in hair clips and buns and things. I'd say it was about that long ish. Maybe not that. There. But I realized I was always having it up, always, and it was bothering me because it was giving me like tension scalp sensitivity. So I was like, well, why am I growing it out if I'm always putting it up? And I decided to cut it this weekend because, here's another segue, whoop, I have been officially diagnosed. I am autistic. And so in trying to honor my sensory issues, and like needs, there you go, that's the word, my sensory needs, I decided to cut my hair and not worry about what people think or say about me having short hair. Also, short hair just has the added benefit in my line of work. I teach kids to swim, so I'm in a pool 4 days a week, chlorinated, and it's really, really annoying to have to try to maintain my hair. So there's that update, and I love wearing my hoodie, so I will be wearing it for the rest of the video. Seriously, best hoodie I've ever gotten, except for it doesn't have a kangaroo pouch on the front, which makes me sad. It has 2 pockets on the side that are like angled in like a weird shape, and they're a little bit annoying. Anyway, I'm not trying to sell you a hoodie, okay? So yeah, diagnosed autistic, short hair, working part-time, yay, go me. I also haven't done an update on like my ankle journey or anything like that. I've been at this same job now since June of 2022-ish, somewhere in there. So like 8 to 9 months, which is amazing, honestly. I have to say sorry, there's something distracting me over here. I have like crafting stuff over here. Anyway, I've been at the same job for 8 to 9 months, which is really, really amazing. I don't know if you know this, but approximately 85% of people diagnosed autistic are not employed. And so 15% are. And of that 15%, I don't know what percentage is full-time versus part-time. I am part-time because I can't handle more than that. And when I've had full-time jobs, I burn out really, really quickly and last like maybe a week. Well, no, let me revise that. I last about 3 to 4 weeks, and then I leave work in the middle of a complete meltdown, like emotionally just crying, feeling like I'm worthless, I am never gonna amount to anything. It's a whole thing. So it hasn't happened with this job because 1, it's part-time. I'm not forcing myself to do more than that. 2, my boss and like the whole team are just so supportive. We have a lot of students who are on the spectrum, and so they're at least familiar with this being, hey, this is how some people operate. And it's like, you don't just stop being autistic when you turn 18. Okay? Yeah. And then, they're very, like, sorry. They are very good at accommodating, listening to concerns, like, talking through and communicating, rather than just, like, saying one thing and then walking away. And I've actually, one of the accommodations I've done for myself and that I cleared with work is I am now using loop earbuds things. They don't play music or anything. They're just little silicone earplugs. Because 2 weeks ago, week and a half ago on a Thursday, my last shift of the week, I was having so much sensory overload that I nearly started crying in the middle of my first class, within the first 3 minutes of class. And that day was just a snowball from hell kind of day. I don't know how to explain it other than it just one bad thing after, like one overwhelming or upsetting thing after another. And that's when I realized I need to do something for myself to reduce the sensory input, the sensory stimulation. And I got them this past week, used them on Wednesday and Thursday. And on Wednesday, so we do like quarterly evaluations, a certain number of evaluations per quarter, I should say. And they're usually like, I've talked to management and asked, like, can you please tell me when they're happening? Because like, it's very upsetting when I'm told a score and I wasn't told I was being tested. And I understand that there's a reason to not tell people. But it was like I said, that day was that day from hell. And it was just like, that's just another thing. So I scored not terribly. I got like an 82, which is the 80 and above that we're supposed to get to be considered actively participating in our jobs. But I recently, here's a plus, I recently got a promotion, and it's my understanding to retain the promotion and raise. It was a very small raise, but first raise in my whole life, first raise and promotion in my whole life. So that was exciting. You have to score 90s and above, to retain those. And I was like, well, 82 is not 90. Autistic black and white thinking. Okay. And I was like, I'm really upset by this. So they did do a second one this past week. So it was like almost 2 weeks ago that 82 happened. And this past week I had my earplugs, put them in on Wednesday, and they did another eval. And they came back to me Thursday and said, guess what? We evaled you yesterday without telling you again. And you scored 100. Let me just break this down for you a little bit. So I have scored anywhere from 72 to 93. The 93 was my highest I ever got. I think it was 93. It might have been a 92. One of the two. I never thought I could score over a 95. I really didn't think I was going to ever be able to do that. This is just proof to me that accommodations work. Letting people accommodate their needs helps them to be more productive and more, not even more productive, but just able to function better, right? So I was like, okay, well, that's proof to me that the first day I wore the earplugs, they reduced the noise by about 14 decibels, according to the rating on the boxes and like the information from the company, the Loop company. And having those 14 decibels less, it kind of sifts out the fan background noises. It's a room that has a lot of reverb because it's concrete, it's glass, and it's water. Those are like, there's nothing muffling sound. It's all amplifying, right? So when your ears are plugged, what you're really hearing is the true vibration of sounds. And actually, I remember one kid in my class, one of the classes, I have six in a shift. One of the classes, one of my students covered her ears and goes, "Oh, that was really loud. I didn't hear it." I was like, "What happened?" They said, "Someone over there was yelling." I was like, "Oh," like it was like a screech, a short, sharp sound. And so like, I didn't hear it. It wasn't going to trigger me. Like, this was fantastic. So I always use them for work now. And it has the added bonus of blocking your ear from getting water in it, which I have really weird ears. First of all, I've learned with the Loop, let me get these back out again. So with the Loop ones, I have my left and my right, and they actually are different because my right ear canal is bigger than my left. I have to use, this is an extra small on the left, this is a small on the right. I love that they supply you with extra small, medium, large, and I think just large. I don't think it has extra large. Because I can have two different sizes and they fit perfectly for each ear. It's kind of like your feet being two slightly different sizes or your boobs being slightly different sizes. We're not symmetrical beings. It's just not a thing. And so, yeah, that's really handy. And it keeps the water out of my ears. I have flattened eustachian tubes, which means I can get ear infections super easily. It's really annoying. And I can get swimmer's ear really easily. So yeah, and a lot of kids I actually have noticed in my classes have sensory issues with water going in their ears. And I don't understand why parents don't accommodate that and give them earplugs. I know there's kids' earplugs for water. I know there is, because I've shopped for them. Anyway, I'm not putting them in right now. That's right. Because the one thing that does bother me wearing earplugs is that you hear just your larynx. Like, you hear your voice inside your head. You don't hear any of the external sound. And so it's a lower, like, register, right? And it's just, I hear, like, the graveliness and just all these things. That's a little annoying. So, yeah. So I'm accommodating myself so much more. I am not pushing myself to wear clothing that's uncomfortable, which, to be fair, I've kind of naturally been accommodating myself without realizing it. I have worn comfortable clothing since mid to late college. I got rid of all of my jeans because they were sensory hell. I stopped wearing bras in 2013. Those are sensory hell. And, well, I should just say undergarments. I hate undergarments. I don't wear undergarments. Like, that's probably TMI. I don't care. Clothes are clothes and this is my body, you know? So I wear very loose-fitting, comfortable, weather-appropriate, temperature-appropriate clothing. I also have struggles maintaining my body temperature, which I have learned is a symptom of autism. It also plays into the fact that I have, like, circulatory issues with my ankle, and I'm not as, like, active as most people, so I'm not moving around creating a lot of body heat. So I get cold easily, but also if I'm too warm, I just want to strip all my clothes off and, like, run away. Like, yeah. At work, actually, our swimming room is heated. It's 90 degrees, and the water is 90 degrees, which is great for swimming lessons. And kids aren't like, oh, I'm too cold to focus, which sometimes are at the beginning. They say they're cold, but then they warm up. But if I'm in that room in my swimsuit, like my work uniform, and I haven't showered before getting in the pool, and I'm just sitting there before our shift, I'm getting overheated. I have to, like, that is the wet room. I have to be wet to be in that room. And then the lobby is only like 72 to 75, which is a huge difference. And so if you're wet and you're in that room, you're going to be freezing. And if you're dry and just in, like, street clothes, you're going to be comfortable, right? I've also noticed I've been unmasking a lot more. So for one, I don't modulate my voice nearly as much as I used to. And, I mean, depending on the situation. Right now I'm in a room by myself. And yes, I'm talking on my YouTube channel here. And whoever watches it. But I, like, don't feel the pressure to mask. And you might notice I'm not really looking at the camera a whole lot, because to me that's like eye contact. And I have noticed that talking about certain things, or just throughout my day, I guess, I guess I'd be like, even eye contact with myself in the mirror, okay? It feels too intimate. It feels really, really personal. And you're like, it's your own eyes in the mirror. Why? Like, what's wrong? I'm like, yes and no. Like, I sometimes look in the mirror and I feel disconnected from myself in the mirror. Like, I'm like, okay, I know that's me. And, like, she's talking and moving and doing the same things I'm doing. But, like, there's a disconnect. That may not be autistic. That might be something else. I'm not sure. It might also be autistic. I haven't researched that part of it yet. Anyway, but yeah, so I went through this autism assessment, right? If anyone here suspects that you're autistic or self-diagnosed, or want to pursue a diagnosis, I guess I can give you some advice here. I posted on Reddit a bit ago, and some people were like, oh my gosh, I'm waiting to have mine and I'm super scared. Like, what can you tell me? First advice, pack snacks, like comfort, safety foods, and drinks. Because I did this over the course of, I want to say 3 sessions, plus some time at home. And it was a while. It was a long time. We took breaks. And they asked me, like, if I wanted to take a break. I kind of wanted to just get it over with, so they made us take a break halfway through. They're like, okay, let's have a lunch break. I was like, okay, fine. So, and they split mine up. Like, some people it's all in one day. It's like 6 to 8 hours all in one day. I'm glad they didn't do that for me. But it may have also shed more light on certain areas that they kind of, I don't feel like they really understood fully. And then, so pack snacks, especially comfort foods. I drink like Gatorades and stuff. I try to keep my electrolytes up. And then ask for breaks, right? As you need them. I don't do it every 5 minutes, obviously. I went through an office that's actually very near me, that I didn't even know existed, but one of my family friends went through their office, and I don't know if she was diagnosed autistic, but she went through a bunch of therapy there, and like they have like multifaceted therapy there, and they helped her be able to get on disability and get housing, which you might be like, yeah, well, you have a house rent, like you're there. I'm like, I'm in my parents' house and they're retired and I don't know how long I can keep being under their roof, and I can't financially support myself. So I need help. That's really why I went there. And I, said, I think I might be autistic. I have other like trauma and medical conditions that impair my ability to function in a society, at the level that's expected at my age. And I'm still going to be going back to them. It's Sunday as I record this, and Monday I plan on contacting them again to start other sessions and figure out where to go from here. So Friday was when I got my assessment results back, and we talked through a huge packet of like 20 pages. And they break down every single test, all the categories, all my scores. They also, for me, they sent a questionnaire by email, I believe, to my mother to fill out. I didn't have my dad do it. I just didn't think he would do it, to be honest. And I don't know how much he could have really contributed. I know that sounds bad, but like he's been in my life, okay? Don't worry, he's been in my life. But yeah, so she filled out a questionnaire that was similar to what I had to fill out, but it was like, phrased differently about her child. And I found out from her that a lot of the questions were actually about like when your kid was a kid, when your offspring, whatever, was younger. And so she, like, they phrased it in the last 30 days. It's like, well, her daughter's 32 and lives at home, and they're living out of state currently. So like, she had to like kind of adjust her answers. But anyway, we actually realized that she sees me as more capable than I do, which is interesting. I mean, I kind of knew that, but to see it in like a test situation was interesting. Yeah. And then I was actually diagnosed with 2 different things, like the autism and something else. Also, autism, I don't know if anyone else, if you realize this or not, autism is not a disorder. I know it has the word like autism spectrum disorder. I know that's clinically what it's called. It's the way that your brain actually works. It's just the way your brain is designed and wired and functions. It's neurological. It's not psychological. Let me put it that way. Yeah. Oh, they also ask you really in-depth personal questions. Be prepared. If you have any sort of trauma, sexual assault, things like that, they do ask about it. And the more detail you can give, the better. I have had some experiences and I could not get into detail with him. I don't know if it was because it was a man my age who was asking me the questions. That's the first thought that came to mind. I wish I'd given more information because the report that I got back is actually incorrect. There's some facts that they got wrong. So I have to revise it and send it back to them and ask them to change it. So that's what I worked on this weekend too. If you hear footsteps, I'm sorry. The family's home, and yeah, we have renters upstairs, and so it was nice and quiet when I started filming. But I've been talking for 20 minutes, so what do you expect? So yeah, mermaid stuff. Let's jump into that because I know I mentioned that in the beginning. I had a mermaid swim. Was that last week? 1 to 2 weeks ago. And I have my fantasy kicks. I sold my fantasy 3 fin. It was that custom one. There's a video if you go far enough back in my channel about getting it. I named her Phoenix, or Phoenix, Fae, yeah, Nyx, but it's pronounced Phoenix. I had her for, let's see, I think 2 or 3 years. 2 years. I want to say 2 years. I can't keep track of time anymore. It might have been 3, somewhere in there. And right at the beginning of, right after like my accident and being in physical therapy, I still retained some muscle mass, and I could swim in her. Last summer, I did not use her at all. I was too overwhelmed by the concept of carrying her around on land because she's heavy, like 18 pounds, something like that, of pure silicone. Like, it's just this floppy, heavy thing. And I had bought the fantasy kicks thinking, oh, these will be great because I can work my legs independently and build up my knee and leg strength, my ankle strength. I can focus more individually and build up strength to wear the fin more, like the bigger fin. But I realized I was only using the fantasy kicks, and the fin, it was not as enjoyable as it was. It was painful, honestly, was the word. So I sold her back in, I want to say the autumn, maybe, because I realized I needed money for my snakes. I love my snakes, and I want to care for them as best I can, and I prefer to have 2 pets whom I can love on and see every day than a mermaid fin that I can barely use. Seemed pretty obvious to me. I have retained the tail that I got with that, or for that fin. It's my diamond in the rough tail that was designed by Mermaid Saphira and myself. And that is a memorial piece. It's an homage. It's a very special tail to me. And I thought, I have some pod mates who have a Fantasy 3 and that I could maybe borrow a fin if I ever wanted to wear the tail. Well, a week or 2 ago, I went to a swim, which I hadn't been to since starting my new job, so like 8 or 9 months. Actually, we've discovered it was about 1.5 years since I'd been to a swim, mermaid swim. And I asked my friend, could you bring your Fantasy 3 in case I want to get any pictures or videos in my diamond tail? And she's like, yeah, no problem. It's the same size as yours was, so that's perfect. I was like, great. So I went to the swim, brought my fantasy cakes, brought my tails, or tail, and we were doing photography and videos and stuff, and I mostly swam in the kicks, all right? But near the end of the time, I was like, okay, I'd love to get at least a few shots, a little bit of video of me in this tail, because I do really care about it. I love it, and I want more footage of it. And I put it on, and I realized immediately that it's a sensory hell for me. It's the way that the fabric squeezes my body, it like actively squeezes together. That's really painful and uncomfortable. The way that it impairs my knee and ankle movement, and like that I have to move in it, hurts my lower back. It's a whole thing. And then the fin itself wasn't my fin, and my fin, I really feel like it was a softer silicone for some reason. My original fin, hers just felt tighter and like more firm. There wasn't a lot of give to it. And maybe that's because I'm used to my fantasy kicks now. That could also be a thing. But within 3 to 5 minutes, I was telling them I need to take this off really, really soon. I should have taken it off immediately, but I really wanted these pictures and videos. So I struggled through, and I could not move the tail. Like, I was mostly using my arms. I had a couple good kicks in there just to get me down as far as I could and then float up for the pictures. I will be posting a video montage of my swim in a little while. I just haven't edited it yet. It's just sitting there. So I learned, okay, the one tail mermaid is not my vibe anymore, and that's okay. And I want to tell you, if you're on a mermaid journey, if you are in the mermaid community and you're trying to find yourself, just know that you will evolve and change just like we do in life, right? And that's okay. If you loved to get your things from a specific company and then the company had something happen and you're kind of like, ooh, I don't want to support them anymore, that's okay. If you had a specific color scheme and now you feel like, oh, everyone has a color scheme and I want to be more unique, that's okay. You can change things up. I have decided that the two-legged kind of Starbucks mermaid is more my vibe, and more I have to honor my body, right? So my plan, once I pay off some debt, because I had some car trouble recently, once I pay off that, I would really like to treat myself to some Vancouver Mermaid merch. I really want to get the Golden Siren leggings, her plus size ones, and a matching swim rash guard. And maybe eventually one of the shell illusion tops. But I don't wear tops like that a whole lot. And I find if they're the same as her other tops, which I have hiccups again. I hate this. I get them a lot, and apparently it's an evolutionary thing when we thought we were fish. So I had to tell myself, I'm not a fish. I know I'm talking about being a mermaid, which is like a fish, but I'm not a fish. Okay. So, eventually I want to treat myself to these items from shopvancouvermermaid.com and or Vancouver Mermaid, Courtney Mermaid. Because she really does, she's just so passionate about her work, and I've always really wanted, like, I've always felt like a kindred spirit with her, but now I realize we're both autistic, and I'm like, oh, the tism. It's the tism, guys. It's the tism. It happens a lot. Yeah. So, honor yourself, honor your body, and listen to it, because it will tell you what it needs. I am also learning that with one of my other conditions, I have a somatic symptom disorder or something like that. Basically, all of my trauma and emotions and experiences get stored in my body in physical form, which a lot of people that does happen, but I also inwardly focused. It's just a fact. It can be negative, it can be positive. I would like to pursue some somatic therapy. That'd be great. I'm also nervous about that. But yeah. So listen to yourself. Listen to your body. Mermaid stuff, autism diagnosis, cut my hair. That's a hair journey thing. Oh, I do want to just loop back around to the hair real quick. They are thumping and I hate it. Okay. I think they're done thumping. Okay, so the hair journey. I was initially growing it out in honor of the missing and murdered Indigenous women and Two-Spirit, and as well as the Indian residential school children who never made it and those who have survived, and in honor of my Potawatomi lineage that I discovered, that I kind of known about but didn't understand until my adult life. And so I was trying to grow out my hair in honor of all of them, and I made it about 14 months, January, 14 months before needing to cut it for my own safe, like, sensitivity and sensory. So I actually have it on my altar back here. Altar, that's not really the word I use, but it's like a memorial setup, a way of honoring my ancestors. So I have my hair back there that I cut off. Like, I did a little ceremony of like, okay, in cutting off this hair, I'm also releasing some things for myself. I'm releasing my ignorance about my autism. I'm releasing other people's expectations of my abilities, and I am welcoming in a new journey, a new part of my life, right? So, yeah. I know I rambled a lot, and there was a lot of just random information, and it wasn't like set out chronologically, linearly, or like an outline or anything. But if you've watched my channel at all, you know this is how we do things. So I'm also now questioning, now that I've gotten the autism diagnosis, if maybe I'm also ADHD. I don't know. That's a question for future me. We'll figure that out someday. But my closest friend is ADHD, and we have some things that just there's no faking it. We just are the same in so many ways. So, and it used to be that they would not diagnose you with both autism and ADHD. It was one or the other, and now they're learning. Oh, they're actually usually like comorbid or codependent or whatever, coexisting. So, anyway, this is a long enough video. Thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned for snake and mermaid footage. Thank you.